Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Telialigaen week number 5, once again for the major broadcast. My name is Bass in the Past, and join alongside me here today one more time is the lovely Hyferia. And Hype, we're trying to keep that undefeated streak alive here in week number 5 versus Vilay Esports. Not necessarily as much of a familiar name, but a familiar team. Must Do Flug have been picked up. Congratulations to them on getting signed here in Telialigaen, and now they represent Vilay Esports. And well, they're going to have to try and represent them as best possible here today as they face us in what is going to be a battle and a half. Neither team taking a loss so far here, Hyferia. This is going to be a spicy one.
Absolutely, and it seems to be a bit of a case of as soon as we have to cast them, they get picked up by somebody else. It also happened with Nordavind, who's now 0-0 Nation. I don't know, just have us cast you and you'll be picked up by an org, I guess, at this point. But because we have started a little bit later than expected, we do have some information about the previous series, and that is an important one. AW3 versus Factor Evolution. AW3 currently in number 1 position because they had a better ratio. That's not the case anymore. They won, but only 4-2. So they dropped 2 games against Factor Evolution. So if we somehow get away clean here or drop 1 game, we'll either be in front of them or be tied with them. We have a lot here, a lot of possibilities here today.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy one in any way, shape, or form. We'd love to try and take a win against Mustu Fluck here, but Mustu have proven difficult for a number of different teams here in this league so far. A couple of ties here and there with Rotarion and I believe Fact Revolution, if I'm not mistaken. So they've held their own against a couple of different teams. So getting that 4-1 victory isn't necessarily going to be easy, but I have faith that we can do it. Hyferia Major have looked incredible so far this season. The fact of the matter is we have not only not taken a loss, the only thing that we have gotten besides a win is a single tie. And that single tie, I believe, coming against, was it Nordavind? Yeah, Nordavind in, I think, our second week of the league. So this is an interesting one. I think that we really do have good odds going into this, but considering the fact that not only have Must Do Fluck surprised a lot of different teams here in this league, they also have now gotten signed. So they're under Vilay Esports. They're going to want to prove under Vilay Esports that they are worth that signing and that they can, just show off what they've got. So I think we're going to be in for a treat here today. I think it's really going to be a battle back and forth. There will be no easy winners here. The question is just who comes out on top.
Absolutely, and to be fair to Mustu Fluck, they are a phenomenal team, but I have not really seen them play against the top 3, and well, the first one is going to be today, because the rest of their matches have been against Rotarian and Fact Revolution, which they both have tied. We swept Rotarian last week. We have a lot to prove. We have a lot to gain, but we also have a lot to prove, and that comes with nerves. Nerves are always a thing, and sometimes I feel like it gets the best of Major. You see them play a little bit oddball and just not get the greatest touches. I really hope that we can get out of the gate strong here today.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the biggest things is making sure that we start off on the right foot. Against a team like Vilay, you just don't want to start off a little bit slow because you know that someone's going to make some sort of move on the mistakes that you make. And that's something that we've seen a couple of times, I would say, for Majors, is that their back half is extremely solid, but every once in a while you see some gaps here and there. And against a team like Vilay, I think they're going to just exploit that thoroughly. So we've got to be careful going into game number 1 of this best of 6. I have nothing but faith in our team to get this one done. But it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination here, Hyferia. It's going to be a difficult battle no matter what.
Absolutely, but luckily we can get that difficult battle underway. Hopefully, as soon as everybody does end up joining the lobby, I think everybody's here. So, Vilay versus Major, the first game as Bastas end up leaving the match. Goodbye, have a good one. And roll Mustifluck or Vilay, they're getting off to a decent start.
That's unfortunate. I can't really notice at the moment as my game has crashed.
Well, I have good news for you. 10 seconds in, it is Major taking the lead. Magma going down the other end, placing it nicely to the left side of the net, getting past Forza. And I guess while you can't really see anything, I'll be the only one. You also can't do analysis. Yeah, they're hitting balls very well right now. Very well. That's why they scored. They're so great at the game. But obviously, Major, this is only the first goal. Decent pass from Lucky, almost finding itself into the far post. Magma still to the center. Not a lot of boost to work with, but good block coming through as well. Forza gets past one. Magma rotates back in time. And Jair And the defense cuts it in nicely for free past Magma, but then Mads is there as well. That's the problem you have if you're facing Major. It's never really done. You're past Magma. You think, oh, yeah, no, we're all solid. Mads will be up next. Oh, you passed Mads? You know, somehow you've managed to do that. Oh, Lucky is still there. So every single time you go up against a player of Major, it's just scary season, and exactly this is the reason why, as the 2-0 is scored. But to involve you a little bit here, Bass, the threat of a big name, how do you deal with that?
I mean, the biggest way to do so is to just sort of keep a calm, collected head. Just make sure that you don't come into this one all too nervous. Make sure that you are playing as carefully as you can, and you know, just don't make a lot of mistakes. It sounds a little bit dumb, but it really is one of these things where as long as you play safe on the back end, it's usually going to translate into a better offense, and that's what we need to see right here, right now. Hopefully we can keep up with this 2-0 streak and get ourselves a couple more goals, but we already do have a little bit of a safety net here, Hyferia, and that's going to be huge for the team, as I still do try to get back into the game. I'm still trying. I think I'm relaunched. At this point, I just need to get into the party.
All right. Okay, so we're going to have a quick break in the gameplay watch, but we can go and get right back to it now that Bass is invited, because I don't want to do this alone entirely. For sure, first 2 seconds fun, mainly because Major's actually winning, but if they start losing, I will start to cry in a corner and Bass will just take over.
Just take over the reins here, brother. The good thing is so far we haven't had to do that, and now that I am back in the game, I can watch this for my very own eyes as Major continue with this 2-0 lead, continue with the domination here in game number 1. Back on offense once again. Lucky in the corner goes for a 50-50. Magma instead gonna send this one center, not quite able to do much with it, as Jair is very easily there for the save, and a little bit of back and forth action. It obviously sort of seems from what I was able to see from both the Twitch as well as also just sort of your commentary here, is that it was a little bit intense and a little bit, oh my word, simple for Major to find offense to start off, but now that all of a sudden Vilay have got themselves some offense, a little bit more difficult. Again, small mistake in the back end and all of Vilay will punish.
Now that is a very good conversion directly going down the other end. Lucky did give the ball away, and luckily for Major, it's kind of that scenario of you don't necessarily need to fix that kind of thing. Of course, you need to not make it, but oh my word, Creamy just keeps on sniping angles and pulls it level out of absolutely nowhere. What I was going to say is you can't keep on making mistakes, but Vilay, they also can't keep banking on the mistakes to be happening, but currently they are.
It's not a bad idea if we're not really touching the ball in the back end there. A little bit of free space and time given, and Creamy will be there before we can blink our eyes. 2-2 all of a sudden. The game has evened up yet again, and I'm a bit surprised here, Hyferia. It might be a little bit of a curse for the team. I gotta hope not as I knock on some wood real quick, because I got into this game, it was 2-0. I blink, all of a sudden it's 2-2, and with 2 minutes remaining, unless Major can pull something out, they're gonna unfortunately take away this lead, but they're gonna gain it right on back here. 2-minute mark exactly, and we score our third.
Maz very nicely off the backboard. It's such control. It's so simple. If you look at what he did, he turned his car 180 degrees upside down, just flew a little bit, pressed boost, and scored. Flipped into the ball. It's literally as simple as that. Try and actually pull it off in game, you'll find yourself flying all over the place except for a scoreable position. Sometimes the Rocket League things seem so easy, but in reality, they are incredibly hard, as Lucky might just make this incredibly hard for himself as well. Gets past another one, but then Creamy will be on the back. But I have to say, Creamy does kind of seem like the backbone of this entire team. We have no way they missed.
You can understand why Creamy's the backbone of the team when the other 2 players are kind of stumbling on top of each other to fight for a shot there. Not a great thing being shown out of Vilay there. Gonna need to try and recover, and I would say just not double commit if they want to get past our offense and defense both. Like we said, and like you said more specifically, Hyferia, they're banking on mistakes right now. It kind of feels like Vilay are trying to transition into offense and hoping to find one of those gaps in our defense again, and unfortunately, we're not really giving it to them. A lot more cautious out at midfield here, and you can understand why. With only about a minute left, we are just trying to not concede with our 1-goal lead here. Getting another would be huge, but we can stick with this for now and take a 1-0 lead on the series, and Oh my word, I think that we just might be able to sneak in another, but no such luck. Mads puts a shot on before an easy save out. And all of a sudden, with 40 seconds left, it's looking like Vilay might be able to get themselves an offense together.
Well, that offense is a very short-lived as Mads just goes down the other end. Magma leaving Lucky to the play. It's going to bounce up awkwardly for Magma, so he's forced to back off. He surely would have wanted that to go to the center more. He still attempts it, but Mads is a little bit too far out. Doesn't want to commit on the play. Fair enough. Now Mads has to commit. Clear it away. Creamy very much spots that. Will get a touch, but it's backwards, and with 15 seconds, you do not want to go backwards. Forza and down and past the one. Lucky Biden this time patiently. Jair now gets it past. Mad's still on the line, and this is looking very good for Major. They just need to keep possession. They just need to keep control. And now they also need to get the ball into the ground. Obviously, on the other end, they try and keep it up, but it will be Major taking home game number 1.
And slammed off the ceiling there with a little bit of emphasis to end that game. Major really do a great job at holding on there, especially considering they gave away that 2-goal lead in the blink of an eye, like we had mentioned. It's kind of deflating when that happens. A lot of teams can tilt themselves out of a game like this and never really recover. Didn't happen for Major whatsoever. They were just playing the exact same, maybe actually a little bit more defensive, I would even say. And I like the adjustment. I think that's exactly what we needed there in that game, and it took us to victory overall. 8 shots in comparison to our opponent's 5. We really did start to find that offensive flow at a certain point, and Hyferia, that's got to be threatening for a team like Vilay Esports here, who their defense did not look bad, but considering the amount of double and triple commits we saw out of them, if they continue to play like that recklessly, I have a feeling we're going to start to capitalize even further.
And especially if we look at how Vilay actually got the goals, they mainly got it through mistakes out of Major. And I already said that's not a strategy you can bank upon, that you can keep intact, because you will just not get the opportunities. Major will not make enough mistakes for you to outscore them, and that's exactly what happened last game. Major just showed a nice prowess across the pitch and all round. Just letting up a few times, but well, if you outshoot still, Mads, can he place this on target? Yes, he can, but Creamy nicely clears it away.
I love that Magma literally bumped into Jair as they spawned into the game. Every once in a while, that little bit of randomness can actually help out for the team, or sometimes you can come back to bite them, and unfortunately for Vilay, it's caused them to scramble on the back end, and this was about inevitable. I saw this from that initial bump. They never really recovered. Forza tries to go up for 50-50, can't quite get a touch, and Creamy just left a little jaw drops as they try and readjust. Major up by 1 early.
And that position out of Forza as well. It was an odd one because he had no boost to work with. If he had a little bit of boost, he would have single jumped, preserved his flip, probably been able to get down. But I guess a little bit fortunate that he had absolutely no boost in the tank, or knowing exactly what was happening, having a soul read. Nice demo dodge out of Magma, engaged in the 50. Now looking can actually take over. Such a smart play this is once again. Let's break it down for me, Bass.
All right, let's watch this one back. 50-50 out of midfield. Lucky baits in Forza, just completely dodges past him. And again, this is sort of what we're saying, that aggression on the back end for all of Vilay is going to come back to bite them. They're playing really risky on the back end, which makes it so that a pre-jump like we see out of Forza there means that, hey, I can just get a clean little touch around you, wait for you to challenge me, and then score it on target. So at this point, Major seem to have a pretty good read upon their opponents. The question is whether or not Vilay can start to slow down the offense. They'll make the save for now, but does that mean we'll end the offense? Yes, it will. When Major, or excuse me, Magma slams that into the backboard full force and then takes it into our own half, I gotta get a little bit confused because now Forza gets a free shot. This has to be a goal, right?
Oh my.
No way! Magma with a save out of nowhere, and despite his best efforts to give them a free shot, they still cannot score.
They should have scored, but they shouldn't have even been in that possibility. That note all of a sudden gets a little bit awkward, where you don't expect to be in a possibility where you can score. All of a sudden you have to think on your feet, improvise, and then sometimes you miss. I want to blame Major more for that awkward play than I want to do with Vilay. Even though obviously this is the Major broadcast, we can be critical, and we're dropping massively just for a second. It's like the lag spikes. All of a sudden, a second, you're completely out of the game. You snap back in, but that tiny second can already be too much for you to be able to hold on. But now 3 minutes, and this might just be a 3-goal lead. Not quite.
We're trying to get back into that offensive flow, give ourselves some confidence, and then from there we can keep running with it. But unfortunately, no such luck when Mads is demoed out on the wall. Magma will try to connect with Lucky, but a little bit of a double commitment. Both of them start going demo chasing at the exact same time. Unfortunately, not really going to work out if you don't have anybody to keep the offense alive. And now all of a sudden, Vilay can go the other way. Creamy cut off by Lucky, though, in front of the net, so they won't get a real shot. And now it's right back to another major offense off the backboard. Magma sets it up for Mads, and Mads will slam that one home. All three players getting involved. Mads sets this one out. Magma pops this into the backboard and right back to them again. I thought that actually we did see a little bit of involvement from Lucky there. Guess not. Two-man passing play, making it look like three, and all of a sudden we're up by 3 with half the game remaining.
This just is so convincing for Major that they never really, well, they never give opportunities when it's not a massive mistake. They don't really get outplayed. They just make a massive mistakes by themselves, and that might lead to an opportunity or a goal. And this spells absolutely brilliant news, of course, for Major, who now look obviously more likely to take that sweet. Magma failing the recovery on the backboard. He will still recover in time to get it down the other end. Creamy now to the skies he goes. Fifth with Mads and going to be shut down.
Shut down for right now, but it's not going to be the end of the offense altogether. Here come Vilay pressing the issue, and with about 100 seconds left, they're hoping to just find a single goal, Hyferia, because at this point, it's looking a little bit bleak. They are really struggling to find a lot of offense here. Matter of fact, they're struggling to just find shots in total. 3 shots in total to Vilay Esports. Meanwhile, we've got 3 times that, 9 total, and Mads alone has 2 times that. They have 6 shots by themselves. So right now, it's just showing we have overwhelming offensive pressure. And it doesn't matter if we can't sink the shot, though. No one able to find the follow-up there. And Creamy sends it the other way. This has got to be a goal for Vilay, right? Yeah, indeed. Creamy will send it in the back of the net. And finally, they will end the drought.
And I don't like this. 3 goals, sure. You can start toying about a little bit, but what Magma did there, instead of taking the shot, completely tried the fake out, did not work, and they conceded a goal. Now, all of a sudden, with 1 minute 13, there's a 2-goal differential. And no matter how confident you're feeling, a 2-goal differential can be cleared up in a matter of seconds. Get a goal, get a lucky kickoff, or get a good kickoff, and all of a sudden it's tied back. You don't want to give any momentum as Forza clears it away. Major, they're still looking strong, but I do not like that kind of play as Magma, oh my word, got close to the angle.
I think that that's a big part of it, though, is like you said, that word in particular, close. They're keeping each other very close in rotations right now. They're not really giving a lot of extra room, and it's leaving gaps as a result. We're not really covering the field as much as we are just covering each other, and that really should have been a goal again. Jared not quite able to put that on target here, but it's one of these things where Major are starting to give the opportunities towards Vilay, and this is going to become a problem further in the series as the striking gets better. So we need to cut off Vilay right here, right now. We got to stop giving them these opportunities because eventually they're going to punish. While it's not going to happen here in Game 2 because with 15 seconds left, they're still down by 2. As the series develops, I really do think that the striking is going to get a whole lot more threatening. So winning Game 2 is massive. It puts us on tie point at this game, but we really do need to try and improve just a little bit when it comes to our overall rotations.
And another problem what I have with taking the latter part of the game a little bit easier, it is fun. I'll very much admit that, but I think in such a scenario against Vilay, where you can't really drop any games, you want to keep the momentum going as best as possible, and you don't really get the best momentum going if you start playing around. You get into that mindset. You get in that mindset of just messing about a little bit, going for ridiculous shots, going for ridiculous save, not really caring about rotation that much because, well, we're just having fun either way. They need to dial back in, and they need to do it quickly because otherwise I genuinely think Vilay can take a game or 2.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing here is that we don't want to let Vilay get warmed up because they really could start to impress us out of nowhere and all of a sudden start taking a couple of games. And if we're looking to top the table here, we have to take either a 4-0 or a 4-1. And I don't really want to even risk that 4-1. I'd much rather get a clean sweep here and move on out and just take our win against Vilay. It's a lot easier said than done, but the main way we do that is by keeping momentum in our favor, like you said. We're currently up 2-0 in the series, but a little bit of a shaky ending to game number 2. Let's see if we can start off on a better foot in game number 3. Game number 3 underway, and this is going to be a tie point, meaning we win this one at minimum, we secure ourselves a tie.
Yeah, that is a minimum, but I think in this pace, at minimum, we're expecting a 4-0 sweep almost. There have just been not that much threat going on from the side. We see a shot coming through, but the shot is just too weak. No follow-up coming through either. And Major go down the other end. We see Magma go for an incredibly aggressive corner steal. And does manage to rotate in time. Maz now to the skies. Magma pre-jumps and they're still feeling frisky. But at the same time, Magma did dodge the demo because of it. But Major, even if they're feeling frisky, I'd like to see them put the first goal on the board and then start messing about maybe a bit.
Well, maybe they can put it in right here. No, Creamy gonna cut this one off, but they'll at least get the offense together. Lucky trying to connect with Magma, who is quite literally freestyling at this point, pre-jumping off the ceiling. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Hyferia. This is a bold move. They do definitely look in control of the series right now, but it's going to be a mistake if they end up giving a lead to Vilay and then all of a sudden Vilay, you know, just kind of hold on to said lead. So they've got to be careful. Forza is trying to prove a point here as they go through the air, but Jair not quite able to connect. So instead, they're going to have to try and center this one more time. Creamy is there, but a good clear out from Lucky. And Magma now sends it into the backboard. We've seen a goal similar to this before, but not quite able to get the angle this time. 90 seconds into this one, and so far, neither team able to score, especially when Creamy is making saves like that.
And that is an unfortunate one, or at least for the side of Major. Well, let's see what they can actually come out with. And I'm actually not too sure. Now that I'm thinking about it, Magma stole his goal. That is for sure. I don't think he got too much direction change on this, though, did he?
I don't think he got any. I think this is just straight up a ghost touch. Just, yep, a little bit with the wheel. Just drops it into the bottom left. That's the thing, though, is that you don't necessarily need a redirect from that situation, Hyferia. You just need to be enough of a threat in the air that they think you're going to put a shot on target.
And well, let's see what they can pull out later on. As Lucky to the side now. Magma is there as well. Mads pops it right back up. Jair away from the target, of course. Shot coming through from Creamy, or at least an attempted shot. And I do think that on the side of Musufluk or Vilay, they're missing Paney, and that could obviously be a massive factor as well. I think it's some Jair instead of Paney and Forza into the back of the net.
Uh-oh, apparently even without their star-studded trio that they start with, they still do have a solid enough roster to be scoring on mistakes like that. Mads with not the cleanest touch off the backboard. And again, this is what we've been seeing out of Vilay here. They are punishing when we make mistakes. It is a huge part of their offense, is that they are on the prowl, keeping it very close-knit. And if you make even the littlest mistake, they will be there to punish. And speaking of which, though, we're going to send this one the other way. No one ready on Vilay, so this could be a shaky defense for them. Forza going to send this one out to the side, but Lucky easily waiting, and now on the ceiling has a chance for a shot. Not quite able to convert, though, and Mads not quite able to connect afterwards either, so that will end the offense for now with just underneath half the game remaining. This is where we have to see what Major is made of. They've got to try and get this lead back, and I have a feeling that it's no longer just fun and games for the team in orange. We might be taking this one a little bit more seriously.
No, I'll actually say that. They do double commit. Magma needs to bail them out on the back half. Magma with 50 on Jair, and then gets taken out completely. Creamy with a nice read on the play there, jumping in front of it as he gets popped into the center. Mads 50 with Forza, and Creamy, can he be there first? Yes, he very much can. Won't be on target, but Lucky still dives for it. And Creamy has a little bit of space to work with. He drops it towards the center. Jair tries to take over, misses the boost, and then ends up backflipping into it. Let's see whether that's the right decision. Does give up a little bit of positioning, and here Creamy sneaks up awfully close. A Boomer going down the other end, and that was off target.
Oh my word, not only was that off target, but that was going to be easily collected. And especially after a miss like that, you get a little bit relieved when you go, oh, thank God, I didn't just give up a goal to the other team. And then all of a sudden, you see your teammate come flying through, and they aren't quite able to handle it either. 90 seconds left here, and all of a sudden, Major are up by one. And again, this is an important one, Hyferia. We want to try and take that sweep to give ourselves the best odds at taking top of the table here. And, well, we're getting close to it. We're about 80 seconds away from holding on to that 3-0. Then it's only one more game after that. I've got faith in the team, but this is going to be a battle to finish this one off. You know that Vilay are not going to give up. They want this equalizer and want that overtime.
Absolutely, as it gets popped to the center. Another goal for Major could be devastating, but another goal for Vilay could very well open everything up once again. But now it's Lucky up to the play, and he slices it down into the back of the net, makes a dish, and eats his dinner.
I gotta give some credit to Mads on that one as well. What a challenge out at midfield, setting up Lucky perfectly. And Lucky, well, clever as always, does not rip one on target because Creamy is there, so gets a little bit of space between the two of them and pops it into the bottom right. And then, well, up to the top right as well from the bounce. Oh, but it could be all for naught. Not if anyone has to say something about it. Mads on the back end with a great stop, and that could just save the game overall. With 50 seconds left and a 2-goal deficit, Vilay really need to find some sort of success on offense here, and they're not even finding an offense at all. Instead, they might just get scored upon on the other end. No, Jair with another great save. And listen, as much as Vilay have struggled a little bit on offense here to try and find these equalizers, I have to give credit where credit is due. Their defense has looked impeccable here today.
Oh, absolutely. And now they just need to step up on attack because, as you say, their defenses look great. Their attack still has a few things to be desired, and that is mainly shot power. It's tough to get a lot of power and accuracy, but you are expected to be able to do that at this rank, at this level, and well, they do get one on the board. Once again, not a lot of power, but this time it wasn't necessary, and all of a sudden with 5 seconds, there is a chance.
I mean, this is possible, but they basically need a perfect kickoff, so this is going to be an interesting one. Everybody hold your breath at home here as we watch what happens on this kickoff. Maybe we can see Major score another one as well. Let's see if there's any clever tricks here from all of Vilay. And they're actually going to just go for not only a standard kickoff, but they're going to go for a kickoff that does not work out in their favor pretty much at all. Creamy will still rip off a shot, but Magma just needs to let this drop to the ground and will do exactly that. 3-0, we go into the series. And Hyferia, we are 1 away from a clean sweep against our opponents. That is not necessarily completely unexpected, but it's definitely rather impressive to see, to put it simply.
Yeah, absolutely. With Major, you can expect them to sweep everyone at the start. Obviously, that expectation sometimes can be crazy, but they genuinely do have the capabilities. They don't necessarily have the consistency, or at times, we had that 1 week where it was very shaky. I'm pretty sure it was against Fact Revolution, where it kind of fell apart for a game. They regained and managed to close it out, but that was in a 4-1 fashion now, right? Against Vilay, you just want to close it out directly. Take the lead in the point standing because you will be above AW3.
That's a big team to try and get a lead against, and we might just be able to do that right here because Mads reads the rebound after the Magma shot and puts us up by 1 early. Creamy just a little bit lackluster with that touch, and while they can make the deflection afterwards, they cannot get there for the follow-up, and 1-0 it becomes.
And realistically, if you think about it, I don't think it matters that much whether you're first or second. You basically don't want to come up against AW3 first round of the playoffs, or even second. If you meet them, you want to meet them in the final, and well, just making sure you get away from them will very much manage to do so. But right now, Major, they can't focus on that as of yet. They need to still close this one out. Magma to the backboard. Lucky buys this time and goes back on defense.
Back into defense, playing this one rather safe, and I think that this is the better option of the two. With a 1-0 lead at this point, we know we're going to find more offensive chances. We just have to make sure we do not give them to Vilay here, and I really do think that the adjustments we've seen in this series have helped us tremendously, that we have just been able to slowly control this game further and further in our favor by making sure to, you know, kind of mute our opponents, to put it simply here. We're just not giving the chances to Vilay that they need, and oh boy, we're, not, wait a minute, no, is this going in? No, Mads misses the shot! Lucky still there for the 50, is there going to be a follow-up? Lucky shot on target and in, and I've completely lost my train of thought. Not even sure what I was speaking about before because chaos ensued in front of the net, but it works out in favor of Major.
Just everything blowing up on the pitch, in the brain. It doesn't really matter for Major because they do take a 2-goal lead a little bit more than 1 minute in. And this is looking very solid. 4-0 might be the end score. And as I said, they still have 4 minutes on the other end to try and pull it level. I haven't gotten confirmation on this, but I am pretty sure that Vilay are playing with a sub here today. That always influences you, so I don't think they're going to count this one too heavy, but I do think that this series, even if we don't win this game, it will be the first series loss of Vilay.
I have to imagine so, and they're going to be hunting for this revenge in playoffs then is what that means, is that when they're down 3-0 and they're just kind of not really able to show their stuff without their full starting roster, they're going, all right, just you wait until we come back with that full starting roster. And, well, they're going to have to look for that revenge, I'd imagine, in playoffs, because currently we are up by 3 with about 3.5 remaining. Barring a miracle, I'm not so sure how Vilay are going to get back into this. They just straight up have not had the offensive chances, Hyferia. We mentioned this before. Their offense is not doing badly, but it just doesn't seem like they've got that firepower behind the shots that they are taking. And in reality, they also just need more shots. At this point, we've got 7 shots in the game in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, Vilay only have a single registered shot. They want to beat us. They straight up need more offense. And at this moment, they're rather muted, trying to get something together here. But JR completely cut off by Mads. And now Mads going the other way in a 1v1 versus Creamy. Wants the double touch, but doesn't need to find it. Lucky is there for the rebound, but unfortunately, it is saved and sent on out. And it's actually going to turn into a goal for Vilay. A little bit confused. Did we demo out at midfield? I was going to ask where our defense was.
And the demo out of midfield completely opens it up, and well, that opens up all the opportunities within this series as well, or within this game. Let's keep it a little bit closer for Vilay, because otherwise, if they're gonna have to start thinking about the entire comeback already, that is a tough task, and especially when Lucky attempts to get it to the center. Magma, decent recovery, gets a second tap, but not quicker than JR was there as well, so it will be a 50-50. Creamy getting past one Fortune. Now far post is Lucky with a save, but they are starting to pick up the pieces at Vilay. They are starting to place more power behind their shots.
Yeah, definitely starting to, but unfortunately they're not, I'm not going to say they have a lot of time left. They're not running out of time, because with 2 minutes remaining, they do have it, but they need to be a little bit more consistent with this. At this point, they only have 3 registered shots, and that is barely enough to even grace the halfway mark of what we've done on offense at this point. We have 8 shots here, and oh, it's not going to matter, though, because if you make the shots count, who cares how many you take? And Creamy, my oh my, did they make this one count.
The car control there to whip it upwards and accelerate it at the same time was absolutely exquisite, and Vilay now only 1 goal differential is in this game. Lucky going to be engaging in a boost battle with JR and gets the boost, but JR will get the ball, and a little bit of boost left after kickoff will help him along his path, but Mads in the end will pick it up. Lucky passing it to Mads. I love the passing play, and this time it won't be successful. Dodge over the demo out of Lucky. Lucky now ripping a shot. Creamy and Forge both commit for the save. Now Magma can easily sweep on in there. Low boost, but enough.
That's a perfect angle out of Magma there. Lucky just recognizes to rip one on, make the awkward defense, and Magma, well, sees all 3 defenders, pops it into the left-hand side, and Forza just kind of has to desperately dive at it, and unfortunately, without any contact, they will now go down by 2, just underneath or 100 seconds remaining, and at this point, it's up to Vilay to try and find that offensive momentum again. They really do struggle to find this continual pressure, and oh my word, it's kind of difficult when you have a team like this that are just scoring on you on repeat. Kickoff goal goes in favor from a drop down from Lucky that immediately finds Magma, and this is a monstrous flick, Hyferia.
It's a phenomenal one, and the setup as well for Lucky to not go for an egotistical play, saying, hey, I want to show off. No, he still passes it off, and that's what I like. They want to solidify their lead, and here we go. This is fair. It's freestyling at this point, pre-jumping everything, and still scoring in the end. You know Mage have got this locked up, and Vilay, they will be forced to take their first loss of Telialigaen.
Unfortunately so for them, because with about 75 seconds left, a 4-goal comeback. I mean, technically it is possible. There is a possibility of it, Hyferia. The odds are extremely low, to put it simply, though, especially considering that we just got another good kickoff in our favor. Lucky in the corner, just playing nuisance here and wasting time. And to be honest, if we get past, I would say, that 40-second mark or so, it's just straight up impossible. Oh my word, but it doesn't mean that Vilay are going to stop fighting, excuse me, as Jared trying to get something out of midfield, but Forza a little bit too much space given to Magma, and now I'm confident saying it, that's going to be the win in favor of Major.
You're a real negative thinker, huh? Negative Nancy out here. Oh, 4 goals not enough. It's a minute left, guys. Oh my god, we have to be so careful. I can't agree though, because Vilay did they did show capabilities, and they were getting onto the attack a little bit more solid. So while it's not likely, that there is always the possibility, and fair enough.
There's always the possibility. It doesn't mean that it's likely, and at this point, it's straight up impossible because with 40 seconds left, 5 goals just isn't going to happen. But, you know, you always got to give the benefit of the doubt to the other team. And unfortunately, as much as we give the benefit of the doubt to everyone on Vilay here today, they're going to just have to prove that doubt wrong later in the season when they get their full squad against us again. Here today, unfortunately, with JR as their sub, they couldn't quite get it done. And while I think that JR did a fantastic job, again, full credit to them, it just wasn't the same as having Paney on the roster. And with 10 seconds left, you can really feel the pain of losing that player because they go down in a 4-0 sweep. And Hyferia, it's a little bit unfortunate we didn't get to see the battle between the two teams we might have been hoping for. But hey, I'll take the win for Major. And not only will I take the win for Major, we're top of the table, baby!
And we are now top of the table. Major have completed it. The sweep against Vilay, and I think we can be a little bit fortunate that they did not have their main roster here today. Whichever way you really look at it, we took a victory, and that is how it will be in the history books as well. Whether we can get the top of the table, as I said, I don't necessarily think it matters that much because after this, they will all be in a bracket. I think they're all in the money already. If you make it to the playoffs, you earn the money already. At least that's how it was last season. Well,
I mean,
yeah, if you're already there, it only matters who's on the other side, right?
yeah, technically, but you still want the bragging rights. I'm not going to
Oh,
say that I don't want to be
absolutely.
top of the
Yeah,
table and
yeah,
that I don't want to be able to
yeah.
say, hey, we are top of the table. Plus, it gives a lot of confidence to the team. And that's something we have noticed a lot, I would say, with Major throughout the season is that when they're confident, they play incredibly well. It's very clear that once they get that flow amongst the three of them, it's pretty hard to stop it no matter what you do. So I just want to see us with the utmost confidence going into the back half of the season. But that being said, they're going to have to keep the confidence for quite some time. Hyferia, after this week, we've got a 3-week break, and then we return on October 21st for more action. So we got to take the highs while we can get them. This really is going to be a celebration moment, but it's a celebration we're going to have to sort of hold in the back of our mind for a couple of weeks here because as much as it's great to take the top of the table now, holding on to that momentum for 3 weeks is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be incredibly tough. And, well, there will be a massive break in between, which, everybody has some time to breathe, go on vacation, whatever they want to do, really. But, it is going to be unfortunate because I think Major, they're looking really solid at this moment. They're nicely getting along and starting to play incredibly well. But after the break, they do get a little bit more time to practice as of right now. And after the break, they'll have more of the, I don't want to say simpler matches, but on paper, easier opponents. Whereas AW3, they're going into the tougher half of the season here.
Yeah, this is going to be one of these things where I think we really have solidified ourselves up at the top no matter what. The one thing is that we still do have AW3 themselves. Final week of the season, we've got a battle against AW3. So if they can keep their form going into the back half of the season, there's a lot of implications there on basically who gets first seed and who gets second seed based on the actual battle we have against them. So fingers crossed at this point that we're going to be able to keep that momentum. I really do think that this is going to be a great back and forth here. But Hyferia, what a week we had here in week number 5. Really has been such a great battle and such an impressive one all around. And we might even have a chance to talk to one of the players about that, or maybe even the coach. Hyferia, I think we're going to try to get Stu on in here, see if, or Stewie, excuse me, see if we can get him to talk a little bit about this victory here today, because I think this was a rather impressive one.
Oh, absolutely. It certainly was an impressive one here today. And, well, I'm sure Stewie has plenty of words about it as well. We're just gonna have to try and figure out as soon as he does get in here. I'm pretty sure he will get on. There he is, Stewie. How is it
Hel-
going today?
Hello, 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 hello. I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely lovely. Of course. I mean, we're only the casters. You as a coach, you did say to me what you told them before the game. If you want to repeat that for everyone back at home, real quick.
Um, I, all I said was to cause hell and do their stuff, and that's what they did. So I'm happy.
It's only a few words. Really, only a few words. Now, obviously, you told them to go raise hell, but has there been any other preparation, some sit down sessions for the rest of the season already, or do you specifically look at opponents and see how you can counter them?
Well, we kind of just go into every game as it is because, every game's new week, different teams, different play styles. So I don't particularly look at people's play styles as such, but it's just wanting to play our game. We know we're one of the best teams in the league and we can dominate any game we play. So if we make them play our game, then we win.
I mean, that's exactly what you guys did at a certain point. You were able to keep that offense, and it really was impressive to see that even when it seemed like you guys were getting a little bit overzealous and playing a little bit risky on offense, the minute that you saw any sort of resistance out of your opponents, it was a quick adjustment, making sure to start to buckle down on defense again. And I gotta say, that adaptation that we keep seeing out of Major week after week after week is such a huge factor to why they win. Is that a big part of what you guys kind of go into each week with? Is that idea of sort of, hey, our opponents may play a certain way, but we're going to have to adjust? Or is it just sort of make sure that you have the play style that works? And if that means, adjusting, adjust. If it doesn't mean adjusting, just sort of stick to it. Is there a strategy going in, or is it just sort of, figure out whatever happens on the day?
We knew at the start of the season that we were going to go into the season like quite dodgy, like in play style, not as warmed up, as gelled together. But as the season went on, we were like, okay, we're feeling it, and every game we play, we don't really think, oh, we're gonna have to adapt. We just know that if we play our play style and the play style that we know, then we can dominate every game. But we have had certain situations, for example, the Nordavian game, where games were going back to back, and we had to adapt to try and change our play style and adapt. And I think we did that quite well in that game and came out with a draw on a very off day for us.
Very fair, very fair. A draw against the top contender, who we're now ahead of, apparently. I guess so. So that's very solid. But we were pretty critical, or not necessarily upset, but a tad bit annoyed with them starting to freestyle relatively early on. What is your coach's perspective on
I don't have anything to do with this.
that? I think
I
that says
have
enough.
nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with that. That's if they feel like they could do that, then and they can still win the games 8-2, then go ahead.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, fair enough. How are you going to argue with results at a certain point? And, well, the results speak for themselves. We are now currently undefeated into this league. We are 4-1 overall. Genuinely just the top of the table here, as we are plus 15 differential. It officially has been updated on the Wikipedia as well, showing that we are now top of the table here. A very impressive stand, to put it simply. What are you looking for going into the back half of the season now? We mentioned that there's a 3-week break, and then we come back on the 21st to sort of get into this one. I know that you guys are obviously probably trying to keep the momentum together, but is there any sort of plans for that off time to make sure that once the season starts up again, you guys hit the ground running?
We'll probably scream a few times here and there, but all in all, I want my team to feel their achievement for this half of the season and have that week and a half, 2 week break as they should and they deserved. We'll come back like the week before the next game and hit the ground running for the second half of the season. We know we've got a good run of games that we can get a lot of game differential and good wins out of, and it's all leading up to that last game against AW3 if we can win. Depending if we're higher on goal difference or game difference, sorry, then we can get a draw or a win and we can end up with the top of the league.
That's awesome to hear. It sounds like you guys have got a lot of confidence going into the back half of the season, and well, with good reason. Can't really blame you on that one. Much appreciated, Stewie. Want to let you get Alan out of here before the end of your day. Real quick, any shout outs you want to give though while you're on stream?
Oh, no.
Um, not I don't want any shout outs as such as people, but Major as an organization, they've been amazing for me. I've been here for nearly 9 months, 8 months, and I've loved every single part of it. And at the start, I was very debating going into it because it was a different path for me. And this has been a good time for me. So I just want to appreciate to a major esports, Hoover, every single board member, Soul, and Diablo, and everyone for having me with this organization.
Awesome. Awesome. We want to thank Major as well because obviously we are on the team now as well. But we also want to thank you, Stewie, for all your help that you give to the team here. Much appreciated, brother. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you soon, man.
Thank you, and you.
So
Much
cute.
appreciated.
It's so
All right,
cute.
Hype. Well, That is the end of our day, my friend. We have finished through this entire broadcast. We have seen a dominant performance out of Major through 4 games, and unfortunately, we're now going to have to wait a little while before we get to see the team dominate again. We will be back October 21st for our next matchup. It is going to be versus the Razzle Dazzlers, and that's a team that I think we've got a little bit in store for us. They've really surprised the table, currently 3rd overall at 3-0-2. I think we've got a really good matchup next time we see each other on stream, Hyferia.
Oh, absolutely. And it's unfortunate that we have to wait, but at the same time, a tiny little break of this can be good for the nerves. Try and get everything sorted and, I don't know, maybe come back with a fresh mind. Rotarian, by the way, they tied against Playwell this week. Rotarian not really taking the nicest line, that probably not the line they were expecting at the start of the season, but they also have 3 weeks to try and figure that out. But for now, obviously, we're going to go into a tiny little slumber. We shall be back very shortly. I want to thank you all, of course, for watching, and we hope to see you back at the 21st. Have a good one.